In this video, we're going to look at an example that puts it all together. And this is a typical type of question that you'll see in your homework and exams and things like this in this class. So let's take a look. It says SAT scores. A college admissions officer takes a simple random sample of 100 entering freshmen and computes their mean math SAT score to be 458. Also, let's assume that the population standard deviation sigma is 116. And in the first part of the question, our goal is to construct a 99% confidence interval for the mean math SAT score for the entering freshman class. So at this point, the only tool that we have to construct confidence intervals is z-interval. And this is going to change very quickly. As a matter of fact, it's in the within a couple of videos, you're going to see that there's going to be a variety of other tools that we're going to be using sometimes. And so I should mention here that we're going to use z-interval specifically because we are assuming the population standard deviation is given to be 116. So if we are not given sigma in a problem, then you would not be using z-interval. But here we are. So you can see that I've already set things up with z-interval in the calculator. Just a reminder, to get into z-interval, you would press stat and then you would go over to tests, and z-interval is down here at number 7. And so I've entered the data. You can see I've got a standard deviation of 116, a sample mean of 458, a sample size of 100, confidence level of 99. And so we're just going to go down and press calculate, and we will get our 99% confidence interval. And so we get a confidence interval of 428.12 up to 487.88. So with 99% confidence, we would expect our mean math SAT score for the entering freshman class to be in this range. And it's a pretty wide range, and that's not completely unexpected given that we've got a really high confidence level. Okay, question 2. If the sample size were 75 rather than 100, would the margin of error be larger or smaller than the result in part 1? So I want you to think about what's going to happen, but then the nice thing is we get to just go into the calculator once again, and we're going to say stat tests number 7, and we can go back and just modify our sample size. And so before I press calculate, I'm going to think a little bit about this. And if I have a smaller sample, then I always think, okay, there would be more variability in my results. And if there's more variability, then to me, I'm expecting a little bit more variation in this confidence interval. Let's see what happens. We do get that more variation. We see it is 423.5 up to 492.5. So kind of just like I did there, try to think about it as you're going through it in the calculator and see if your thoughts match up with what the calculator is giving you. Okay, question 3. If the confidence level were 95% rather than 99, would the margin of error be larger or smaller than the result in part 1? So we're going to go back to z-interval this time, and we are going to just modify the confidence level. But we're trying to be consistent or compare with what was happening in part 1. So I'm going to go back to my original sample size of 100, and I'm going to decrease that confidence level. Again, think about this. When you decrease the confidence level, you're less confident that your interval is going to contain the true population mean. And so if you are less confident, is that interval getting bigger or smaller? If you're going to be less confident, then I would expect that interval to be getting smaller. And that's exactly what we see. So compared to part 1, you see that we've got an interval that is much more narrow. We are going now from 435.26 up to 480.74. So your calculator can handle all of these calculations and a lot of these questions, but try to reason through them at the same time. I think if your reasoning can kind of line up with the results in z-interval in the calculator at this point, then that's really going to help you out a lot going forward. Now for question 4, I'm actually going to do this in a separate video because it's a lengthy question and it's pretty unique. We haven't seen one like this yet. So open up the next video and you can see the detailed steps to how to find a sample size when we specify what we want the margin of error to be in a confidence interval.